friends, it's Mari from Mari Harai Archives, and today we're going to do something super special because it's been kind of a long time in the making, and it's taken me years, I guess, to get to this point. We're going to talk about my fountain pen slash ink journey, and yeah, so let's get started. So, like I had mentioned, I started this fountain pen journey since like 2018 when I was introduced to the fountain pen. I think my very first fountain pen was the Pilot Metropolitan along with the Pilot Kakuno. And then since then, it's been a desire of mine to continue with fountain pens. But like with journaling, for me, it was kind of on and off. And I haven't been able to really dedicate any time or effort to getting to know my fountain pens and inks, even though throughout the years I've purchased many fountain pens and inks. And so I had told myself this year that I was going to actually make an effort in trying to get to know my fountain pens and understand the dynamics of, how it works with inks and the different kinds of paper and just the little nuances when it comes to, how to hold the fountain pen and all that stuff. Because in reality, my journey in the beginning was more of like, oh yeah, I can just write and then pick a pretty ink and be kind of just that. I very much love my gel pens and roller ball pens and stuff like that, just because of the convenience of it. I don't have to worry about inks or anything. So I never really invested the time to really get to know and understand the inner workings of fountain pens and how there could be different factors that can affect your writing experience. And so for the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I have been trying to figure out a system that will work for me. And just like my journaling habit, or whenever I get overwhelmed with something, in my case, like say stationery or stickers or notebooks, what I end up doing is I end up just wrangling everything and then trying to figure out a system where I can, I guess, inventory what I have and then have a system where I can kind of document what it is, what I have, and kind of assess, okay, do I need to get rid of items and so forth. And so I did that system many times with a lot of my stationery when it got overwhelming. My stickers, my paint sets, my notebooks, my Hobonichi covers, just so many different items. And so I decided to do that system for my fountain pen and ink. And let me tell you, this past 3 weeks has been kind of eye-opening, and I've really enjoyed the process because I feel now I have a better understanding of what I have and the different writing utensils that I have, and I have a better understanding about the different nibs and how it works with me as far as when I write. And it's just been such an enjoyable process. And now I'm at a point in this inventory ink fountain pen journey where I have a better understanding of what works for me, and like what papers I enjoy, what kind of inks I like, what kind of nibs. Spoiler alert, I am a medium nib girly. I never thought I would be. I was always like fine, extra fine. But no, the medium nibs have stolen my heart. And so now I'm like, I need everything in medium. So we're going to talk about that. I'm going to show you how I guess organize and store and inventory my inks and my fountain pens, and then I'll take you through the process of when I get a new ink in and when I get a new fountain pen in, and then just go through these notebooks that I have in front of you, and then we'll talk about the new fountain pens that I actually currently have. I kind of recently graduated and updated some of my fountain pens, and we'll go over that. Okay, I think that's pretty much, and then we'll talk about the inks that I got as well, and then we'll go from there. Okay, first things first, I think obviously what we need to go over first is the system that I use to inventory and document. Now, it's kind of a four-stage system or four-book system. And let me actually get the fourth item because I didn't bring it out, but here it is. This is the fourth item. So this is kind of what I use to help me organize my ink and my fountain pens. Now, this is just ink and fountain pens. This isn't like markers or my gel pens and all that stuff. That has a different system on its own. Now, you probably can put all of that stuff together into one like ring notebook. I would recommend a ring notebook first because of the fact that you can take things out and put things in. But for me, I feel like this system works better for my brain where it's compartmentalized and it's in different books. And so if I only need one, like if I only need this book to take with me, it is slim enough to do. As well with this whole system right here, I feel like it's slim enough. This right here, I mean, it's a pretty thick book, so this is something that I probably wouldn't be like throwing in my bag, but if I need to, I can. But then this is why I have this. Okay, so what is this exactly? Let us go over one by one. Okay, let's go with this book first. So what this book is, this is an A6 Midori Hibino. I think it's a 2023. I never used it, so I ended up repurposing it for my ink swatching book. And so what I love about this book is that it has that, I think it's the Tomoe River paper, but it's that thin paper, it's MD. And what I like about it is that it has a lot of pages, and of course it is fountain pen friendly and ink friendly. So I don't get a lot of bleeding, mostly a little bit of ghosting, but not a lot of bleeding when it comes to the inks. And so I just kind of repurposed this book for that. And the way I do it is that whenever I get a new ink in, all right, I guess I'm going ahead of myself. I guess to kind of break this notebook down. This notebook has a monthly section and then a 2-page daily section. And so what I do is that for the monthly sections, that is what I use to kind of divide my ink swatching by colors. Now, I thought about doing it with brands, but I seem to only like a handful of brands so far. So for me, this is what has worked for me, is to kind of categorize it by color. And so what I've done is that I've used the monthly sections to categorize or to list each color. And currently I am up to, I think I've used, I think eight month section, which the 12th month section is for ink samples. But I divide each month, and that would be the category or the colors. And so, like, for example, for January, I have listed it for black. February is dedicated to my blue inks, and so forth. And as you see here, I didn't start on January 1. I started here, and so I had to kind of block out some of these to kind of put me on the correct day. And the reason why it's important for me to start on the correct day is because I correlate each day to where the ink I swatch for that specific color. So if I go into January, and January 1, I inked the Pilot Takisume color. This is the black color, and it's on January 1. So if I go to the daily pages of January 1, there I will find this 2-day spread, which allows me to do a much larger ink sample, and then allows me to kind of, anytime I ink any kind of pen in this ink, I can just do a writing sample and so forth. So there's plenty of space for future pens that will be inked in this color. And so recently, I actually inked up one of a new fountain pen, and actually I didn't add it to here, so let's do this in real time. So I did ink it up with a blue ink, so let's go into our blue ink, and it was the Pilot Tusukyo. It's a beautiful blue. So that is located on February 2nd. So let's go ahead and pull over to February 2nd. And here you go. So this is what I swatched it with. This so you could see the color better and see the shading. The first pen or dip pen that I used to test this ink was the Kakimori brass tip, which shows you right here. And I recently, and we'll talk more about the new fountain pens that I did get, I got the Sailor Tuzu, which I do not own any Sailor pens, and so I wanted something that I could try out, because I usually use, again, I'm very new in my journey, but this is the pen that I chose to kind of test out Sailor pens. And so I got this, and so let us, I guess, make an entry in here. And so what I like to do is I will just kind of do that, and then I will just list what this is. So this is a Sailor Tuzu, and this is in the medium nib, and I will put navy body, and then I will just kind of do some ink or writing samples to kind of see how it looks. And I honestly love this nib. It is so smooth, and I love the ink in this because it shows the shading. So there you go. There is the little writing sample for this ink. Now, kind of show it. So there's plenty of space for additional fountain pens if I do end up inking it. But this kind of allows me to kind of, if I'm like, I wonder what pens I've used with this ink, and I can pull this up and I can see like, oh, I actually prefer this fountain pen with this inked versus this. I can compare and then kind of make a decision if I want to put that ink in that pen. So it's a great little notebook, and there are plenty of pages. Actually, I'm pretty sure it's too many pages, but this is the book that I started out with, so I'm going to keep it going and just keep everything in here. So that is my ink swatching notebook. Now, if you can see, and this was actually unintentional and I didn't realize it until afterwards, that all of my ink swatching fountain pen stuff is in this olive green, which is pretty cool. I'm so glad, because actually this was intentional, because when I started this notebook, I was like, oh, they match, they're green. And so I was like, you know what, I have an olive green traveler's notebook that I can use. That way I could keep it all in the same color family. So it worked out. Okay, so this is the ink swatching book. Now, like I had mentioned, that this is kind of big and clunky, so this is something that I'm not going to like take with me if I want to see my ink swatches. And so this is where this comes into place. Now, whenever I get a new ink, like I said, I swatch it in here, and I also swatch it in here. Now, this is my traveler size ink swatching that I made out of a cut down traveler's notebook. And I absolutely love this thing. And this is where I swatch all my inks. And so I have something that's kind of very small, but I have the ink swatches with me. So if I go to a stationery shop, like in I think March, I am going to the Chicago Stationery Fest, and so I want to visit like Atlas Stationers and like all the other stationery shops that I shop from, and I want to bring this with me. And so this is like nice and compact where I can throw it in my bag. And when I go into the store, because I'm probably gonna get very overwhelmed and excited and sweaty, and I'm looking for inks that I want to purchase, this is a great way to kind of be like, okay, I think I already have that, because I am very forgetful and sometimes, and I don't want to buy duplicates. And so this little tiny swatch book is great to have with me. So I'm really excited to have this system, or to have this little tiny swatch book. And I actually still have a little bit more of the traveler's notebook from a recent cut that I did, that I will make another swatch book. Well, I still have plenty of leftovers. I mean, because I could probably I could probably add like 10 more inks, and this would be full. And if I need to make another one, I can make another one. But this one is like my travel size. Okay, so this has kind of been in my system since the beginning. So I've had this system for a while. Now this too right here is the newest addition to my little ink swatching fountain pen system. And the reason being is because I needed a system where I understood what I had when it came to fountain pens, because there was just so many variables. Stainless, the nib size, the body type, the ink cartridges. Just there's so many things to know about, and it's kind of hard to remember every single thing. I think with my current fountain pen collection, it's a little bit easier because it's not a lot compared to like a lot of fountain pen enthusiasts. But for me, it was kind of quite overwhelming. And so I actually created, and I chose this because I like the fact that it is a ring system. And it allows me to add and take out paper and move things around when I need to, especially when it comes to a fountain pen collection where there could be a lot of moving parts. If I end up buying new fountain pens, or I end up selling a fountain pen, I could just easily take that page out. And so that is a great way to, I guess, keep my fountain pens organized. So what I call this is my fountain pen profile book. I have it housed in this Meeplus Narrow Slimpad that was graciously given to me by Meeplus for a review. I do have a video about this in depth. I'll link it in the cards if you are interested in something like this. But I decided this was actually supposed to be for my menu planning system, but I decided that this will be my fountain pen profile notebook. And I absolutely love this notebook because of the fact that it allows me to brain dump everything, all the information I need for the fountain pen. And if I need to refer back to it, I can. And it's all right here. And it's, I think, one of my favorite things that I've done so far. So let's get into this book. Okay, so the first thing, I went ahead and has this cute little dashboard. Okay, and then on the first page, I have a little index on here. So it tells me I use these Midori tabs. I love these tabs because they are super thin and minimal. And let me see if I have any over here that I can show you, Or did I use it all up? I did use it all up. But this is how it looks like. It's these cute, very minimal tabs, and I absolutely love these. I use it for my journaling. It's really slim, and I love how you can't really see it. And so I have this index right here, and I just have it marked like the first tab show, and I have this separated by brands of the fountain pens. And so, like, say if I want to see my Lammies, it's on the third tab, and so I just go to the third tab just like so, and then turn to it, which is right here. Okay, and so when I turn to this, I always have a first page where I have what is currently inked. I have this also on my desk, and I have this also in this notebook. I know it's kind of excessive, but I do this for a purpose, because if for a reason I only have this book with me, then at least I know what I have currently inked. If I only bring this book with me, I know what I have currently inked. Now, if these books are somewhere in the house, I have it on my desk. So there's a purpose. And it doesn't take too much. You know, whenever I do ink up a pen, I just do this for each area or each book. And so I have a currently inked. This is the most I've ever had as far as currently inked pens. This just shows you that when I understand something and I'm fully enjoying it, and just I am immersed in this process, I'm super excited. And I use all these pens. I've been using these pens in my journaling, and I'll show you exactly what I'm doing. And it allows me to kind of understand what I like and my preferences. And so yeah, so these are the pens. I actually have one more pen inked because we did add that new Tuzo one. So that was the most recent addition. All right, so this next page I think is one of my favorites, is my ink inventory. Now I made this little mini ink inventory and kept it in here because of the fact that if I end up, because most likely if I'm going to go out, most likely I'm probably going to be taking these two with me. My ink swatching and then this profile book. So if I'm out in the store and I need a quick glance of my inventory when it comes to inks, here it is right here. And say, for example, like I really like this blue ink, and I'm like, well, I have like these blue inks, but I don't have that shade of blue ink. Then I could kind of make a decision like, okay, it's okay because it's different enough for me to add it to my collection. So I love this little ink inventory. Now, you're probably wondering what paper I'm using. So this is the paper that was given to me with my Meeplus. This is like a thick kind of paper. I want to kind of, I guess it's more like MD paper than you'll see later on. I have these little profile pages, and this is more like Tomoe River paper, so it's a lot thinner. So there was a little bit of bleeding, which is fine, because what I love about this system is I can take this out and put it on my table with, you know, with sheets underneath, so it doesn't damage any of the pages underneath it. But so yeah, so that is my ink inventory. So I love this little section of it. This next section is my converter inventory. Before I started doing this whole get organized project, I didn't know how many converters I had, what they were. All I know is that when I would shop, I would buy, I'm like, oh, I probably would need that with every pen that I buy. And so I would buy a converter or a mini converter. And so now I have my little, and actually I need a, oh yeah, I did, converter inventory. And so now I just list the converters that I do have. So if I need to buy, or if I'm looking to see if I need a converter, I already have one. It's listed right there. Okay. Now we go into kind of the heart of this notebook. The reason why I started this was the fountain pen profiles. And as you can see in my index, like I had mentioned, I have it separated by brands. And then so each brand will have the same setup. It'll have a inventory page, a profile page, and then an ink slash writing sample page. So it's 3 pages per pen for that brand. Okay, so like if we go into the number 1 slot, which is the Diplomat, I only have one Diplomat, and so if I turn to it, as you can see, I have this, it says Diplomat fountain pen inventory. And so what this does is that for every Diplomat pen that I have, I will list it here. So it's kind of like a quick glance of what pens I have. And I love that because I feel like it can get really crazy, and I'm preparing my future self. If that happens, when that happens, who knows? But for now, we are at a humbly 1. And so that's what I do, is I just kind of list it here, and then kind of any little facts that I want to put about it, you know, what the color is, if it was a limited edition, what nib it is, but mostly just kind of like a quick snapshot of that pen, nothing like too in-depth. That actually goes into the next page. And so for each pen, we'll have a profile page, and this is where kind of like the information that I wanted to know about each pen. That way, when I am writing, I can understand why it writes that way, or if I need to change my grip, or if my preferences changes. It's just a great information card for that pen. And so what I have here is I have the color, the material, the nib type, nib size, if it's swappable, and then any interchangeable nibs, because that was super confusing for me in the beginning. It's still kind of confusing knowing like what nibs can be changed out. I still am confused. And so as you can see, I said it's swappable, but I don't know which one. So that I have to kind of dig deep and see which interchangeable nibs are available for it. But I felt like that was information that I needed to know for myself. What kind of filling system it is, if it uses, you know, a converter, a cartridge, if you can use a converter, the cap type, which I thought was important for me, and if it can be posted. And then right here on the bottom, I put best paper and ink. And this is kind of where like the next notebook plays in, but this kind of tells me like what paper is good for this fountain pen and what ink, like what paper and ink combo. And so I haven't used this pen yet, so I am not too sure yet, but this is here because that's important information that I want to know and to kind of keep in my back pocket. So when I am going to use this pen for maybe the 3rd or 4th time, I have something to reference back to say, oh, this pen is actually really good on empty paper versus Tomoe River paper, and the ink that it uses, that it likes, is you know, a Pilot ink. And of course, there's so many variables, right? And I think that's the reason why I like this section, because depending on how and I've learned this, depending on how I grip, my angle of the nib, the paper that I use, the ink that I use, it all plays into your writing experience. And so this is something that I've been just wanting to just capture and have it somewhere I can brain dump and not have to worry about it again. And then on the back part of this page is just kind of notes, and it's just notes of things that come up. Like for this one, I as soon as I opened it, I saw that the fingerprint show on that here it is right here. It kind of shows on there, and so I don't know if you can see it, but because of the material, and it does show, it doesn't really bother me, but I just wanted to make note of that. And then 2, I noted that I like the weight of it, and that's as far as I got, because I haven't really used it or anything. So that is as far as I got. But I like having this note section because it allows me to dump my thoughts when it comes to like first impressions. Later on, when I do start using it, what I find, and it's all compiled right here. Now the next page I have here is the inking sample. So whenever I do ink it up, I want to make sure I capture that here, and how, you know, how it writes and how the ink flows and how it looks inside. So I have this. So anytime I ink this specific pen with a different ink, it'll be here. So if I ink it with a different ink, like a blue ink, it'll go here. And so I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 6 more times before I have to change this paper out. And then in the back of it is the writing sample. And it's just a quick, you know, like how it looks. I mean, technically I capture it already over here on this side, but I just didn't want to waste this part. And so I just kind of do like a quick little writing sample. And so that's pretty much what this does for my profile. And then it'll just repeat again, like my Kaweco. I have 3 different Kaweco pens, so I have it listed. So this is my inventory of it, so it's a snapshot. I know, quick glance, that this is what I have. Now, if I want to know a little bit more about each one, I'll go to it. So, for example, the brass sport. Here's the profile for that. I've already inputted the information, and again, any notes I have, any inking and writing sample, and it just does that for all of it. And currently this holds 10 brands. I have the Diplomat, Kaweco, Lamy, Monteverde, Navaler, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, Twisby, Pilot, Y Studio, Sailor, and then other. My other fountain pens, actually, this one is kind of like the fountain pens that I get from like Amazon, like the Asvins, the Hongdians, I'm probably pronouncing it all wrong, the Jinhaos, you know, just like the off-brand ones, because I feel like those have, I'll probably have a little bit more of, because those are more of my testing pens and stuff like that. And so what I ended up doing for the other ones, I still wanted to kind of create a profile for it. So what I did was I just ended up just using the inventory page, and again, just listing what it is, and then, you know, if it's an aluminum body, how much it costs, the kind of nib, and so forth. And then so that's how it is. And then it also has its own inking and writing sample. Now, because this is grouped kind of all in one, I have to make sure that I list what it is. And in this section, what I do is that I just list the actual pen and then the ink that I'm using. So this is a great little book. I absolutely love this system. It's so cool. And like I said, I had gotten a new fountain pen, which was the Sailor. And so that is tab 9. So if I go into tab 9, here you go, is the Sailor. And I went ahead and I actually have 2 Sailors. I have one in the navy body and then one in the clear. The one in the navy is a medium nib, and this is a fine nib. And so what I usually do when I have 2 pens of the same and it's just the nib that's different, I still put it here, but I just kind of annotate that this is I do have a medium and then I have a nib as far as that. So I don't list it as 2 different pens, but what I do though is I will give it a separate profile page, because obviously, actually no, I don't. I actually gave it the same profile page. So I have one for medium and fine, and then I'm just going to annotate here like which one prefers what, and the same thing. So when I ink this up, or if I test it, I'll put here fine nib and then go from there. So I love this little notebook. I don't know if anybody else does. I'm pretty sure I can't be the only one. But I just love this little notebook and how it has all my fountain pen profiles. Now this goes hand in hand with this notebook. You're probably wondering, what does this notebook is? Okay. Now, I mentioned that this is something that it's been a journey for me, and I've been wanting to use my fountain pens more. And I only journal so much in my A6 Hobonichi, and just to kind of give you a sample. So I try to use as much of my fountain pens, but as you can see, like I don't get enough time time with my fountain pens to write, and so I had to create that, right? I had to create an opportunity for me to actually use my fountain pens. And so this is where this notebook comes in. This is a standard size traveler's notebook, and I want to say this is a first in a while that I'm actually using a traveler's notebook how it's intended, because usually like I hack it somehow, like I put rings in it, I cut it down to a certain size, but this leaves stays as is, and I'm using the inserts in there, which it's a win-win for me because I had mentioned last year that I've been wanting to use my traveler's notebooks more and use my inserts more, and so here's a great way for me to do that. Now this is an olive, this is the first edition olive, and I love this book. I customize it myself. And so what this notebook is I call it my my pen and ink journal. So this is where I just write. I write my thoughts about each pen. And the way I have it separated is if we go into it, and like I had mentioned, I always have a currently inked, just so I have that information for whatever with every notebook. And I have two notebooks on here in here. Now, this actually will be replaced with a Baumkuchen grid insert, which has the Tomoe River paper. This has the light paper, which is kind of like Tomoe River, but kind of not. And I thought this would be enough for me to test how my pens would be on Tomoe River paper. And I just don't prefer it, so I went ahead and got that insert. So I'm just waiting for that in the mail. But when it does come in, it'll replace this book. But there's a reason why I have an MD notebook, an MD insert, and a Tomoe River insert. The reason being is because I want to test my pens on both papers, because those are the two types of papers that I use in my journaling, and which I prefer. I love MD notebooks, and I use a lot of my journals use Tomoe River paper, and so I needed two different types. So that's the reason why I have these two notebooks. Now, this is how this is how I am using it. So this is my pen and ink journal. And what I like to do is for each inked pen, this allows me to kind of practice and get a feel and write and get a feel how the pen works for me, and how like my grip, how the ink works with the pen, how it feels on this type of paper, the MD paper or the Tomoe River paper. So I've created an opportunity for me to use my fountains more and to write more and to be able to see how the fountain pen works. And so each fountain pen, now this is kind of a little bit different. I actually changed it to different. So as you can see, I have this part and then this part. I since changed it to where I have my initial thoughts and things I've learned in like a 2-page spread versus front and back. But I'll just show you what I have here. So like what I have here is my initial thoughts. What I do is every ink pen gets a page. And I write down what pen it is and what nib it is and what ink is in there. And I put initial thoughts, and then I just write. I just blah, 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 blah. Like, it doesn't even have to make sense. The point of this book is for me to just put ink to paper. And so that is what I do. And so in the beginning, I'm usually talking about like my first thoughts. Like, I like how this feels, how the angle of the nib, and, you know, how it looks like when I write all caps or when I do quick writing, if I invert the nib, if it works that way. So it's just all these things that I can't really do in my journal, because that's not what I'm journaling about in this journal. So this is more for my ink and pen. And so as you can see, this allows me to also see how the ink looks in this pen, how it shades, shimmer, whatever the case may be. And so I fill up this page. I will purposely fill it all the way up, however that may look like. And so, yeah. And then the next page would be the things I've learned. And what I put on here is like, for example, this one, I put one. I actually like this combo together. I think the ink wetness and shade works great on this medium nib. Number 2, I love the shading of this ink. It will probably shine even more in a broad nib. So these are just things that I think and I thought of as I'm writing. And then I put a little kind of like rating system here for that specific pen, like the comfort level, the nib smoothness, the body size, if it's comfy for me, if the grip is comfy for me, the ink, like the dry time, or if it smears. So just little, just I feel like this is just whatever it can be, but just this is something for me to just be able to write down my thoughts. And then I just go on to each pen that I have inked, and it'll continue. So if I have the same pen and then I ink it again with a whole different ink, then I'll do a whole different journal entry again for it. And then what I also like to do is I like to just put the date on there. And then I have, of course, my little cute little bear stamps. And I kind of rate it that way too. If I like this combo, if it's good, if it's okay. Like in this case, I thought it was a good combo. So this kind of tells me like, okay, I will repeat this combo again. This one right here, this is the Pilot Custom Heritage 92. It is in a fine nib. And I found that like when I first tried this pen, I tried it on Tomoe River paper and I didn't really like it. But when I tried it on the MD paper, I actually really liked it. And so that's what I wrote about here. And so I put so just because, it just depends on the paper. But then I also made sure that I wrote that on here as well. And then there's really no kind of rhyme or reason. When it comes to what goes next, it flows. However, so my next page is just nuggets, things that I was thinking about, like number one, the Pilot Vanishing Point. I say I prefer a medium nib with a shading ink. Another one, here's another nugget that I put. TWSBI runs a little bit larger compared to the Pilot nibs. Another one is I said dry and wet inks can look different in pens. So these are just little nuggets that I learn along the way. And I just kind of marked it with this little washi because, like I mentioned, there's no specific sections. It's the page as I go. And so this just kind of tells me like this has information versus a pen and ink combo testing journaling entry. And so the next one, we went into a journaling entry. This was the TWSBI Eco, the Irish Green, which is funny because in the beginning when I first got it, I said, oh my gosh, I don't really like this pen. I don't like this nib. It's a fine nib. And I've said it for a long time, and you've probably caught it in some of my videos. But after doing this, it's actually not bad. When I put this pen to MD paper versus Tomoe River paper, I prefer it on MD paper because I feel like on Tomoe River paper it's a little bit wetter, but the MD paper it's not as wet, and I don't know, the nib is fine. It's very smooth on MD paper, and so I actually like that pen. And it's crazy because it kind of writes like a medium, but I actually like that pen now. So from now on, it's like whenever I'm looking for my second TWSBI, I'm probably most likely going to get it in a medium nib or a fine nib. But I actually like it. I really do like it. And then I also find that maybe that the ink that I have in there isn't the best ink. Maybe a shading ink would let that pen shine versus just like a solid ink, which I think that's the reason why. And so these are the little things that I'm learning along the way. And again, on the second page, the things I'm telling you, I wrote down on here, things I learned about this combo. So, yeah. And then, again, I do this for all the inked pens. And I actually have to do it for the Tuzu. And I did do it last night. So here is the Tuzu that I did last night. And again, like I didn't know what to write, but I have to like go all the way to the end of the page because I want to test out this ink. So yeah, this is just like a little fun little thing. And so the next page actually last night I told my husband, I was like, here, try it. And he actually tried it because he's always a little hesitant. And when he did, he was like, oh, whoa. And so he ended up testing all of my fountain pens, but we did it on like the Tomoe River paper, the thin one. So out of all of that, he actually found one favorite pen. And the ones that he didn't like, I said, you know what, maybe you should try it on MD paper. It might be different on MD paper because I explained to him it could be different. And so this page, I'm going to have him test out. So this page will be his testing page for the pens. Let's see, what else do I have in here? I have my currently inked. Now I know I have it already here, but I just wanted to have it on this thing, and a little more reason for me to use my pens and the ink. And then I did the pen widths. I just wanted to kind of compare and see how the pen nib size looked right close to each other. And then ink swatching, ink notes. So this is like the current inks that I currently have that I'm using. Some ink notes that I have, and here I have it marked that these are notes again. So, but yeah, so basically the Tomoe River, the grid insert that I'll get will be the same way, but in Tomoe River. That way I can test it out on that paper as well. But I absolutely love this. I mean, it's quite simple, but it allows me to test out my inks a little bit more and my pens a little bit more than I can with my regular journaling. And whenever I feel like I want to write a little bit more when it comes to, you know, just using my pen, I can use this journal versus putting it in my normal documenting my day journal. So I absolutely love this setup. So this all goes hand in hand, and it completes my little journaling, my fountain pen ink journey, and it keeps me organized, and I absolutely love this setup. So okay, so that is my system when it comes to organizing. Do you have something like it? Are you looking to organize your pens and inks? Maybe this will give you some inspiration or ideas on how to make that work for your brain. So okay, let's go into the new things that I've got. Now I know I said I did a no buy for 2026, but hear me out. What had happened was Pilot started increasing their prices, and there were a couple of pens that I've been wanting that's been on my wish list, which was like the Pilot Vanishing Point, the Customs, and I literally was like, no. And luckily, some of these pens were actually on sale at Atlas Stationers, and I actually had like some, actually like a discount code as well, for points that I accumulated from spending. I wish I could say from points from referrals, but that's not the case. It was points from me spending money. And so I was able to kind of stack those discounts. So I was able to get some of these fountain pens before the increases, and then as well as get it a little bit cheaper, maybe closer to where it was a few years ago. And so let me kind of show you the things that I got. And so as far as my no buy, let's not talk about that right now. We're going to concentrate on what's right here in front of us. Okay. Okay, as you can see, I am pulling the new fountain pens. Yay. I think these are all the new fountain pens. Is this new? I think that's new. Let me see if I have any more. Now, I will probably go more in depth about these in a different video, just because this video is already at, what is it? It's already in 45 minutes, I think. But we'll get through it. We will get through it. I'm just going to show you. Okay, so the first thing that I actually bought at Atlas Stationers was, what was it? I think it was these two. Was it? Or, yeah, I think so. So this was actually on sale. Was it like this? These were actually on sale, and I was actually surprised because I love the Y Studio pens. I actually own the rollerball. I bought this back in 2017. I have a Kaweco, but I absolutely love this pen, and I knew one day that I would get the fountain pen, but like I'd mentioned, I was kind of I didn't want to invest in anything too expensive because I haven't put the time and effort to research it, and I just didn't want to just throw $200 on a pen just because. So when I started this journey, I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and invest. And luckily, the Atlas Stationer's like end of year sale made this more more affordable for me when it comes to purchasing it. So this is what I ended up getting. This is in the fine nib. It's their classic brass in this beautiful red color. Now I got to the sale pretty late and I saw that they had like all the colors on sale, which made me so sad, but it's okay. I'll have to wait till next year. But I got the red, and honestly, out of all the pens that I got, this is my favorite pen. Out of all my fountain pens, this is my favorite pen because I love the feel of brass and I love the weight of brass and how even it feels in my hand, which is another thing that I've learned in my fountain pen journey, that some of these pens, like for example, this Monteverde, I was like, oh, I love this pen, right? But as I started using the other pens, I find that it feels not very balanced in my hand. Like it feels heavy on the back end, and it's because of this. And a lot of times I have to adjust this pen clip to a certain angle so it doesn't it doesn't pull a certain way, if that makes sense. So those are the little nuances that I kind of found out as I started using my fountain pens. But so I got this. I love this pen. It is a beautiful pen, and I love it. And this is actually my husband's favorite pen. When he tried out all the pens last night, he's like, this is my favorite pen. And so I absolutely love this. This is right now is currently inked in the red dragon. And actually, let me pull out the, I'm going to pull out the my journal so I can kind of show you for each one. So this one right here is inked with the red diamine red dragon, and I absolutely love how it writes. I think it's one of my favorite pens, and the ink combo on this is just lovely. And so it'll probably be in there forever until I find another red ink that I absolutely love. But yeah. Okay, the next one that I got was this right here. Now I don't know if I'm saying this properly, but this is the, I should have, hold on. It's in my notes and I want to say it right. Oh wait, I won't have it in here, but it's the Navalor Voyage in the Hawaii colorway. When I saw this, I loved it because it has like all my favorite colors in there. And so I have this in the, what nib is this? All right, let me pull out the right notebook. See, this is the reason why I made this notebook, because I don't know. And my brain doesn't brain. Okay, so I got this. This is the Navalor Voyage in the Hawaii. It's a special edition, and I have it in the medium nib, which, again, I discovered that the medium nib is for me. I love medium nibs. And the way this writes is like so. So I haven't fully used it. I just did the ink swatch, so I'm not sure when I'll be able to use it, but it will be used. Okay. And then the next one, I guess let's not go in order of when I bought it, because I can't even remember. But since I have this brand out, it's the same brand, the Navalor. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right. Navalor. I think they used to be called Narwhal which I prefer that, saying that, versus the Novelor. But anyway, so I got this one because I love the iridescent color. I actually wanted the Twisby diamond, the iris, but I ended up getting this one because it was on sale. So I actually got this for like $35 versus $70. And so I was like, you know what? I wasn't sure if it was a pen that I would like, and so I was like, you know what? Let me just go with the cheaper version, or the one that was on sale. It looks the same. It's just a little bit more fatter. But I actually got this in the stub 1.1. Okay, now hear me out. Like, I've never used the stub 1.1. It is definitely a learning curve, because when I started writing on this, oh my god, I was like, what is this? And it's like, you have to write it at a certain angle. If you don't, the ink doesn't come out. And so I was not prepared. I was like, did I break it? I had to YouTube it. And so now that I have a little bit more research on it, I'm like, okay, I'm going to properly try this out. But I just love the iridescent, the petrol looking iridescent tip. It's so pretty. And so that's inked up with, what is this inked up with? This is inked up with, it's inked up with Robert Oster's Pink Squirrel, which is this beautiful, like, purplishy, pinky color. Now, I purposely don't fill up my, well, this one did. This was my very first vacuum filling mechanism. I couldn't get it at first, so I had to YouTube it. And so I was able to get, it was pretty cool though once I figured out how to do it. But I purposely don't fill up these cartridges too much so I can use my other pens, so I can, you know, get through those a lot quicker. But yeah, so that is what I have that in. And again, I have this inked up. I do, I tried, oh my gosh, I was struggling. I was like, what is this? Do I, at first I was like, you know what, it was only $35, so if it didn't work out, oh well. But here it is, it's right here. So here you go. These are my thoughts. Like, as you can see, I could not get the hang of it, and then I kind of did, but then I kind of didn't. But I mean, I got ink on the paper, so, but as you can see, I mean, it's a beautiful pen. I just have to practice. So yeah, that is again a learning curve for myself. Okay, next up we have, oh my goodness, let's talk about pilots, because that was actually on my list that I really wanted, and I actually tested out with a Jinhao 10. I actually have it in the same colorway because that is what I wanted, and I wanted to test it out. So here is the Jinhao, and here is the Pilot. They look identical besides the two rings here. So yeah, I mean, but I really wanted a Pilot. That's something that has been on my wish list, and it was the reason why I bought the Jinhao, because I wanted to test it out before I invested the money. And so when I heard about Pilot increasing their prices, I don't want to say I panic buyed, but I was like, no. And I saw the prices. It's like increasing like up to 30%. And I think the new pricing for this would be like $220. When I do remember when I first got into the fountain pen scene, they were about $120. And so I thought that was really expensive. And I think the price increased a couple years ago, and it went to like $175, I think. And so when I saw this, they had this at Atlas Stationers. They had it at the $175, but I did see the new price of $220. So I'm assuming it'll go to $220 once the price increases. It might be increasing today. I don't know when it's going to, I think it's on the 15th or 16th. So I went ahead and purchased it for $175, but I also had a 15% off discount from my points, and so I used that towards that. So I got this for less than 160. I think it was like 140 something. And so I went ahead and just invested in it, and I absolutely love this pen. I think it's second favorite to my Y Studio. But I did get it in the medium nib because honestly, that was the only nib that was available at the time, and I figured I can always just switch it out if it didn't work out. But it actually worked out because this was before I found out I was a medium nib girly. So it worked out now that my two favorite pens, well, that one's a fine, but it kind of writes like a medium. But this is a medium nib, and I absolutely love it. And it currently is inked up. Let's see, it is inked up with the Platinum Forest Black, which is just a beautiful color right there. And when I was writing in my journal for this, I just was having a great experience writing. So here it is. It was just a great experience. I loved it. Oh, I paid $158 for it. So yeah, not bad, right? Oh, so it was $240 retail. But yeah, so I am very happy for this purchase, and I'm so happy that I do have it in my collection. And I'm using it. Love it. And this little mechanism, this little thing, I feel like, I don't know, I like using it. It gives me a guide, and it gives a rest for my fingers. So I don't know, some people like it, some people don't, but for me it's comfy and I like it. So okay, next one I do have in, I think this is the only, yep, this is the only Diplomat that I have. And like I had mentioned before, this shows fingerprints. Again, it's in that, it's called Funky, but it's like in that petrol iridescent colorway, and I absolutely love it. I don't know, it gives me like Lisa Frank vibes. I think that's the reason why I go for it. It heals my inner child. But this is my very first Diplomat. I haven't tried it out, but when my first impressions of it was a very smooth right off the bat. I think I got this in a fine. And I don't have this inked up because it's not being used, but I do like the shape of it. And again, this was part of the Atlas Stationer's end of year sale, so I did get it for half off. So I'm super excited to try that out. Okay. Next up, oh, we said pilots, right? I didn't even go into my next pilot. Sorry. So this is my Pilot Custom Heritage 92. I absolutely love how this looks. I chose a clear one. I think it comes in a different one. But I got this in the fine nib. Now, I have some thoughts about this off the bat, because this is actually the first gold nib that I've tried. So in my journey, I'm still trying to see if I see or feel any difference when it comes to gold nibs and stainless steel nibs. Again, only time will tell. But off the bat, I have this inked up with, what do I have this inked up with? With Robert Oster's Mystic Storm right here. Now, when I first tested this out, it was on Tomoe River paper, and I honestly did not enjoy that experience. It felt a little bit scratchy when I did it. And when I actually did it on here, on my MD paper, I was actually surprised that I liked how it felt. It wasn't as scratchy, and the ink was a little bit better. And so I know now that this pen and myself prefer MD paper when it comes to this. So this combo needs special treatment. It needs MD paper, and the ink is okay for this one as well. But again, just my thoughts. I wrote exactly what I had just mentioned to you guys on here. And so, will I get another Pilot Custom? Probably not. I think I am good when it comes to my Pilot pens. I'm okay. I don't have a desire. I'm just saying this now. I mean, it can change in the future when I get a little bit further down the line in my fountain pen journey. But as far as Pilot is concerned, I'm pretty satisfied with these two. And then I have my Kakuno and my Metropolitan as well. So I'm okay with just these two. I think moving forward when it comes to fountain pens, when it comes to those pricier ones, I'm definitely going to be a little bit more pickier, because of the fact that I don't want to spend $300 on a fountain pen that I don't absolutely love. And so what I have here now is the perfect, I guess, mixture for me to really, really, hone in my preferences when it comes to fountain pen. Okay, and the next one that I did get from I guess this would be like from Amazon, but I did get the Kaweco All Sport with the piston filled. Oh my gosh, I didn't know this existed. And I actually found this, sorry, this has a blind cap that you unscrew, and this has a built-in piston filler, which I think is so cool. So it's in there, you can't see it, but it's already built in. It comes in two colorways. It comes in this black and gold, and then the navy and gold. They didn't have the navy and gold when I looked for it, but what I loved about this too is that it has the clip already built in, and it's aluminum, so I like the feel of it. Lately I have been really liking the brass, the all brass and the all aluminum bodies. I feel like those are the ones that feel more balanced in my hand. It doesn't feel uneven, and so I think that moving forward, that's what my preferences are. But they also have the navy one, which is a beautiful one, but I think this sells for like 100 and was it like 180 maybe? I found it on Amazon on Kaweco website, and they were selling it for 120 at the time. So I went ahead and grabbed that for myself. So I'm so happy to have this in my collection. I actually have two other Kawecos in my collection. I actually had more, but I sold it. But these are the ones that I've kept, which is the all brass. I have this olive green and then this. So that is my Kaweco collection. I'll probably do another video with an updated fountain pen collection. I'm just kind of telling you the new fountain pens that I did get. Here's another one. This is the newest one that I got because after all of this, I wanted to really try out Sailor because I had my eye on some, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to go in head first and to buy like a Sailor pen without trying at least like the intro. And so I did find this. This is the Sailor Tuzu, and it has like an adjustable rotating nib feature. And I think how it works is you twist it. No. How does this work? I don't know how it works. I have to look how it works. But there's like a feature where you twist it. But I keep twisting. Oh, there it is. I'm like, but I keep twisting the piston or the. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know how that works. I'm gonna have to YouTube it because every time I twist this comes off. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong. But it's supposed to be like rotating to help to accommodate whatever grip you use. And so far when I got this in a medium, and like I said, I am a medium nib girly. When I did this, first off, my first thoughts was like I really loved how smooth it was. I haven't tried the fine nib, but I absolutely loved the way this wrote. And so it's promising. I really liked how it wrote. It's very smooth. I mean, I hear just a tad little bit of feedback, but it's so smooth. I love it. So yeah, so that was my newest one, and like I said, this was something for me to try out before I invest in a Sailor pen if I choose to in the future. So that is that. And then I have various pens that I got with different like nibs, like broad, stub, that these are mostly Jinhaos. These are Jinhaos right here. I got like the wooden one. I wanted to really try out like the big fat pens, and surprisingly, they are super comfortable. I would always think like, how do people use these big fat pens? But they're actually really comfortable in the hand. So I get it. So these are two of them that I'm going to try out. And these were some off-brand ones, but I really like the look of it and how compact it was. And they're brass and wood. And these actually write pretty well. I'm not surprised because I mean, they're cheap, but I mean, for beginners and, you know, to try things out, they're really nice. So I got these brass pens. And then I got another Asvin. This is what I use for sketching. It's inked up with platinum carbon black. This is what I use. And then this one's a new one. This one actually is has a 24 karat gold nib, or it's probably plated. It's all malfunctioning. Sorry, I didn't realize it. I thought it was a screw, but it's not. It's just a snap-on. But yeah, so this one has a 24 karat gold nib. This is in the fine. I think it's plated though. But it's the Bellinger, I think is what it's called. I thought it was really pretty. So I wanted to try that out. So I wanted a red pen. So this was the pen I got until I purchased the Y Studio one. But I did test this out off the bat, and it writes pretty smooth. I was actually surprised by it. Where is it? This right here. Not too bad. It's actually pretty nice. So, but yeah, that is the fountain pens that I did get. I did buy this before the new year, and then some of these were after the new year, but you know what? It's okay. It was all intentional. Okay? And I did get a couple of new inks in, just to kind of okay. I said a couple. What had happened was yeah, that is not a couple. Let us go through some of these. I already have it swatched. Actually, let me pull out the actual ink swatching. All right, let's go with the oranges, because I think that's the one that I got most of. Okay, here is the orange. This is the Jacques Urban Cornaline d'Egypte. I'm probably messing that up, but I absolutely love this ink. I currently have it inked in one of my pens, and that is how it looks. It is a beautiful shading ink, and I'm learning my terms when it comes to inks. I'm still learning, but it's a beautiful, I believe it's a shading ink. I don't think it has any like, I don't know the difference between like shading and sheening. They all look alike to me, but it's a beautiful orangey yellow color. Next up is this Tono and Limbs Golden Rice, which, can we get a better like labeling system for Tono and Limbs? Because I cannot tell what it is when it comes to, all I see is FA1. That's all I see. There's no name, there's nothing. And so I'm a little bit irritated about that. There's another Tono and Limbs. Again, here's another one. I don't know what it is. It says Kugelblitz. That's all it says. Like, can we get a better labeling system, please? But anyways, I got this. It's called Golden Rice. It's a beautiful color. It's a lighter color than the first one, but that's how it looks. And then the next one is the Star Child. It says Oscar Wilde. And this is a Wearingeul ink, which is a beautiful ink. I don't have anything inked up in this quite yet, but it is next in line. I think after I'm done with this one, I'm going to put this one in. But it's a beautiful ink. Okay, next up, let's do the blues. That's red. See, I don't even know what color this is. What is this? I don't even know. Oh, okay, it is a black ink. See what I'm saying? Like, here it is. Tonal and Limbs Kugelblitz. It's called Friendship. And it's just another black ink. Okay, let's go into the blue. Blue is February. So this is the Robert Oster Mystic Storm. No, you can't see it, but that is how it looks. And there is the swatch for it. All right, let's get into like the purple. Now, all right, so I have two purples, but I couldn't decide where to put this because it looked purple to me, but it also looks pink to me, so they're in both the pink and purple. Okay. So let's start off with the Diamine in Ink Vent. It's called Forest Gâteau. And it's scented. It smells really yummy. And it looks like this. So it's in March. It is really pretty. Look at this. Look how gorgeous that purple pen is. Or the purple ink. I don't have a purple pen for that to go into. So if anything, I might try it in my Diplomat, maybe. But we'll see. But look how beautiful that ink is. Okay, and then the next one is the Pink Squirrel, and like I mentioned, I couldn't tell if it was pink or purple, so it's in both areas. So it's the Robert Oster Pink Squirrel. There we go. And then the last two, I think this is purple, or is it pink maybe? No. See, I could totally see this as purple as well. I'm really bad when it comes to colors, but what do you think? Would this go under purple or red? If you guys say purple, I'll also swatch it in the purple. But maybe it is purple, or maybe pink. I don't know. So it's called Claret. And let's see, this is in June. And here it is. Oh, maybe it's purple or pink. You guys tell me so I can put it in the right section. But it's a beautiful color. Is it red, pink? You guys tell me, and then I'll do it. But it's beautiful. And then again, my favorite, which is the Red Dragon, that is in June. So it's the Diamine Red Dragon. Beautiful ink. And there you go. It's so funny because like it looks like blood whenever I, wipe it off. But it's a beautiful like deep burgundy red. And it has like this nice like shading, a darker shading. It's really pretty. So, okay, that is, that wasn't a couple of inks. Now that I see it, it felt like only a couple inks when I bought it, but guess it's not. That is the new inks that came into my collection. That is the new fountain pens that came into my collection. I'll do an updated video of all my fountain pens, and if you guys want that in my ink collection as well. I just figured I really wanted to show you guys how I organize my ink swatching, and it has helped me 1000% when it comes to understanding my fountain pens and the inks, and you know what I love about it and what I prefer. It's been a great learning tool for me, and so I'm really excited to continue with this journaling, or just journaling, this fountain pen and ink journey in real time, and see how it goes. I can only assume it'll get better from here. Now I just hope that it doesn't get too crazy where I'm adding so much more, but I think in the future I could probably see a Sailor fountain pen in my future. I just don't know which one, because there's so many, and again, I'm just trying to learn what kind of fountain pens I love as far as like the body, like acrylic, you know, brass and all that stuff. And so before I even make, because I think the most expensive pen that I own that I've actually paid, you know, for, you know, over 200 would probably be my Pilot Custom. Even on the sale price, it was quite pricey for me, and that's the most I've ever spent on a pen, which is like 2 something. So that in itself, so I want to make sure that my next pen, when it is the Sailor, I just want to make sure that I get something that I really like before I throw down a few $100s for that. But yeah, so this helps me, and it's quite a joy, just, you know, knowing whenever I do get a fountain pen or ink in, to be able to reference it and, you know, have my little inking swatching system. So okay, that was quite a long video, but I do hope that you guys enjoyed it. You learned a little bit about my inking and swatching systems, and maybe it'll help you when you're trying to figure out how to organize your thoughts and information when it comes to fountain pens. But like I said, it has helped me so much. So okay, that is it, and yeah, I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.